All right, what is up, everybody? Hey, I wanted to talk to you today about a topic I'm very passionate about, and that's electric motorcycles. There was a survey recently that came out in Europe. I want to share those results with you, and I'm going to tell you about my own personal thoughts on the bikes. Let's ride. So before I tell you about the survey that was actually done over in Europe, I'm going to tell you about my own personal opinion on it. I'm actually very outspoken against electric motorcycles to the point where I've had articles published in Road Racer X magazine and Cycle News. And let me tell you why I don't like them. I think it's pretty simple to the fact that they don't really stimulate the senses the way a gas-powered bike does. Visually, they usually look like a cheap toy. I don't like the way they look. As far as hearing goes, they sound like a remote control car. All they do is whine. And then just the feeling of the bike between your legs. I saw a video the other day of a guy at a motocross track. It was terrible. He had a GoPro on his helmet or whatever, and all you heard was this whine as he went around the track. And me, I grew up riding motocross. And a big thing about motocross is, the bark of the bike, the sound of the bike. That's the reason exhaust systems, aftermarket exhaust systems, are usually the first thing you do to a bike when you get it, whether it's a dirt bike, street bike. We love our aftermarket exhaust, right? Another time I was at Laguna Seca. I ride up there every year for the MotoGP, and then it became the World Superbike. And I remember they had a race with the electric bikes. And I'm sitting here waiting for them to come around the track, and then all I hear is this whine coming at me. To go from a MotoGP bike sound to an electric bike sound, it was terrible, dude. It didn't move my senses at all. Yeah, they were going fast, but that's all they had to offer. Now, I know a lot of people want to argue about the torque. They have so much more torque. Who cares, man? If everybody wanted the fastest bike out there, everybody would be riding a 1000cc sport bike, instead of all these cruiser bikes. So power isn't really an issue, and usually electric bikes have less top speed. And then as far as longevity, how far can you go on one of those before you have to charge it for a half an hour? That to me would be very discouraging. So basically, in a nutshell, the fact that electric bikes don't really move the senses the way gas-powered bikes do, I think is a big issue. Now, I don't want to completely dog on electric bikes. I think they have their place in the world, and that would be simply commuting around town in a big city, or maybe if you want to ride somewhere in your neighborhood and you don't want to disturb anybody else, you're close to homes or whatever. Yeah, electric bike is good for that, but I think either way, you're not going to enjoy riding that thing as much as having a gas-powered bike. I don't understand anybody that would like an electric bike as far as, you don't have a clutch, there's no shifting. To me, that's what makes a motorcycle cool and exciting, is all the dynamics of the engine, the shifting, the clutching, the throttle, the way everything works together. If it's just a throttle and a front brake and a back brake, that's, to me, is just silly. So let's talk about this survey they took over in Europe, in Brussels. It was done by FEMA, F-E-M-A. FEMA is the Federation of European Motorcyclists Association, and they did a survey of just over 23,000 riders, mostly men, some women. And it was really pretty simple. What do you think of electric motorcycles? And let me pull over and let this guy by. And basically, they just asked them how they felt about a ban on gas-powered motorcycles. And 93% rejected the idea, which is pretty impressive if you ask me. Of all those people, almost 54% said they'd quit riding altogether, and almost 39% said, oh, that's cool, little track there. And almost 39% of the people said they would buy a electric motorcycle. Now that makes me wonder how those numbers would, stack up in the United States. But I really do feel that riders here in the United States are as passionate about gas-powered bikes as they are over in Europe. I personally think if they just did away with gas-powered bikes, I would just quit riding. I don't even know if I'd ride. Most of my riding is done to commute to work and back. It saves me on fuel. It gets me there faster. There's a lot of traffic that I can avoid because we have lane splitting here in California. But I was thinking this morning, like, would I even get an electric bike to get to work and back? And on one hand, yeah, it sounds like the most logical solution. But on the other hand, it's almost like I don't like governments telling me what to do. And I would be so jaded about them taking away my gas-powered bike. I'm like, I'm not going to ride an electric bike just out of spite. And I think it boils down to that. I think it's going to be a long time before there's no gas-powered vehicles anywhere on the roads. I mean, even if they stop making them, there's millions of them out there, and we're not just going to let them go. I really want to know what you guys think in the comments. Comment on what country you're from, and are you for or against electric motorcycles? Let's hear it, man. We'll do our own little survey here and see what people think. But I, for one, I love the gas-powered bike. Oh, another thing I want to talk about was I did see some information one time about cars, vehicles, and it said that it takes a battery-powered vehicle 9 years to be less environmentally damaging than a gas-powered car. Now, I imagine that's because of these huge mines that it takes to dig up the material that's used to make the batteries. And then let's talk about the battery itself. I mean, when those things go south or the car gets destroyed, I mean, what are those batteries going to do to our planet, when we start burying them under the ground or whatever, however they plan on disposing of them? I mean, what are all the facts behind that? I know that these mines that dig up the material for the batteries are basically, there's like child labor abuse at these places, and that's never good. So you got to look beyond the facts that a battery-powered vehicle does not burn fossil fuel. It's not as black and white as that. There's a lot more involved, just like the things I talked about. Don't be so focused on torque. I mean, it's so funny how, the first thing people always want to go to when they talk about a battery-powered car is, look how much torque it has. Look how much torque a motorcycle has. Torque, torque, torque. I'm really tired of hearing about the torque. I don't care. And a majority of us don't care either. I mean, trust me, this 1000 that I'm riding, it's got plenty of torque if I'm really concerned about that. Anyways, guys, look forward to hearing your comments in the comments section. Enjoy your day, ride safe, and we'll catch you in the next video.